YouTube, Batcave Comics, back for episode 4 of 5 Bronze Age #1s you could pick up cheap. First of all, thanks for everyone for tuning in, checking my video out. Definitely greatly appreciate it. So let me get this started so it don't run too long. But the first book I'm going to feature is Hercules Unbound #1. This book is from 1975. Fantastic art. Great little series. You can pick up for $10 or less. In high grade. This is just a great #1 Bronze Age book that you could add to your collection. And I'll give you a quick little review of it. But this one here is just in fantastic condition. Sharp corners, bright popping colors, white pages. I picked up for $10. So that's book 1. And some of these are going to surprise you. Book 2. Now this one can get a little bit more expensive. New Teen Titans #1 from 1980. Artwork by George Perez. Marv Wolfman story. Great series. I had this signed by George Perez. And this book you can pick up at a solid grade raw for right around $50. Now, of course, when you get in the graded ones, they tend to get a little more expensive. A 9.8, if that's what you're looking for, you can expect to spend about $300+ for this book. 9.4s you could pick up roughly under $100. But you could also pick raw copies of this up in solid grade for $50 or under. Alright, moving on to book number 3. And book 3 kind of blows my mind a little bit. And that is Shogun Warriors #1 from 1979. Artwork by Herb Trimpe, Al Milgrom. Of course, Herb Trimpe's no longer with us any longer. But back in the 70s, he did some fantastic covers. I used to love this series. I had the little toys. Well, they weren't little. They were about 2.5, 3 foot tall. They came with moving parts, shooting items. They were super cool toys when I was a kid. Lost them in the process of moving, different places. But this is a fantastic Bronze Age #1 book you could pick up for $10 or less. Raw in high grade. That in itself still is hard for me to comprehend. A Bronze Age #1 book in high grade for under $10. You can pick up a 9.8 for around $100, give or take. Sometimes under. Fantastic #1 issue from 1979. You can pick up for cheap. I'd say I probably have about 4 copies of this, and I will continue to keep buying these things. Especially if I can get them for $10 or less. I mean, that should be a no-brainer. Alright, moving on. Like I say, most of these books might shock you. Next one, Godzilla #1 from 1977. Another Herb Trimpe cover. Jim Mooney and Herb Trimpe art. Fantastic book. The colors on this thing are so deep and rich. I mean, this is a great looking book. And I picked, you can pick this book up in high grade for under $20. I mean, some of the near mint copies raw are going to be a little bit more expensive. But if you shop around, you can still pick this book up in high grade for under 20 bucks. A 9.8 is probably going to cost you about $150 plus. But, I mean, you could probably pick up a raw 9.8 for around $20, $30, send it in, and you just quadrupled your money. Fantastic book. I would definitely try to find some of these and pick them up. Moving on to the last one, which I believe is going to be the surprise of them all, is Red Sonja #1 from 1977. You can still pick this book up raw in a solid grade for under 20 bucks. I think eBay had one that was roughly very fine plus 8.5 is an estimate for like $12.50. To me, for this book, blows my mind. And if it's still on eBay, I might go back and purchase that. Because this book, if you want it at a 9.8 already graded, it's going to cost you $200 to $250 plus at this point. 6 months ago, you could buy a 9.8 of this for roughly half that. This book has definitely steadily been on the climb. And I want to give a shout out to Cat Ran Figures. She left a comment in one of my previous videos, kind of reminded me about this book. If you take your time, search hard enough, you can definitely find this book at a solid grade for 20 bucks or less. So that's it. That's my 5 picks of my 5 Bronze Age #1 issues you can still pick up cheap. Thanks for tuning in. Batcave Comics, out.